Hi, my name is Ron Ellison from Stoneridge Software, and I am doing a video on how to book across multiple days using Dynamics 365 Field Service. I currently set up this demonstration system so that I have three resources listed. These resources are set up with filters so that each one has a characteristic of the assembly repair and the robotics engineer role. I did that so those are the only three resources you see in the list here. I also configured three work orders uh, under this service account, Adventure Works, and each one of these work orders is configured for 50 hours duration per work order. I did that on purpose because my intent is to set it up across 5 days and booking it for 10 hours per day on each resource. As you can see what that looks like. So the first example of how to book across multiple days, I'm going to select this number one work order. And then at the top menu, there's a book button. When I click on that book button, this create booking pane pops out. And what happens is the requirement defaults in here. And depending on the resource I want to book to this, I can actually click on that name. And you can see that resource will populate. And then the start date will say multiple days selected, but I can left click on the first day that I want to start the booking on. So I click on that. You can see it defaults into the 13th. And then on the end date, I can just click this calendar button here and then choose the last date. So in this case, the 13th through the 17th, which would be 5 days. And the idea is to book 10 hours per day so that it spans across for a full duration of 50 hours. One other field here is called booking method that I want to talk about. I changed this to evenly distribute hours so that when I do book this, regardless of how many hours are scheduled for, the work hours are scheduled for each resource, it will automatically, depending on the number of days and the total duration, it'll just evenly distribute those hours across each one of those days. So you can see when I book this, it's going to book 10 hours per day for that resource when it's done, regardless of whatever the work hours for that resource is. If I were to choose front load hours by default, it would automatically fill whatever work hours are available for that resource starting on Monday through. And so using the evenly distribute work hours works a lot better. All right, for the second one, I'm actually going to drag and drop it. So this number two work order, I'm going to left click and hold, and I'm going to drag it to this second resource listed, and you can see it'll actually show the dates November 13th through the 15th and the resource that I am hovering over the top of, and I'm going to left click and drop. So what happens is, again, it puts the requirement number in and it puts the resource that I dropped it on in under the create booking pane again, and then it defaults the start date to the 13th and ends at the 15th. Reason it does that is 50 hours equates to 2.08 days. And so by default, it thinks that when I'm booking this, that it's spanning across 24 hours per day when it does that. But all I have to do is click on, again, the calendar on the end date and then choose the last date that I want it to span to. So I'm going to choose the 17th again. And then again, same booking method I can choose. I can go to evenly distribute hours, and the default duration shows up here as well, and I'm going to click book and it'll actually do the same thing. A little bit easier way of doing it. This is definitely the preferred way that I like to do it. For the last example, I'm actually going to use this find availability. So I selected the third work order, and when I click find availability, the way this works is it's actually going to look at the available resources and try to find a resource that fits the requirements for that work order. So you can see it selected this resource. I'm going to drop this down, and what you'll notice is it'll show the first date that this resource is available. So I can actually click that date, and from here now I can actually change this booking from the pane that pops out. So again, I can choose the first date of the 13th, and I can then also go to the end date of the 17th. Now, if I choose the 18th, the behavior here is kind of weird. I'm actually going to choose the 17th. You'll see what happens because my idea is now the only thing I don't have is this availability to choose evenly distribute. What it's trying to do is span it across these days with this resource. And so again, in this case, I'm going to choose full requirement and the duration of 50 hours and then span it across and then click book and exit, and you'll see what happens. Now, if I were to choose the 18th on this end date, it probably would work correctly because I have these resources configured to be only their work hours are set 10 hours per day, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So typically it'll fill. But you'll notice because I chose the 17th, it only spans it across the 4 days. So if I drop this down, I can still expand this out to the fifth day, like dragging and dropping. It allowed me to extend it from the 17th through to the 18th. You can see. And again, I can leave these defaults and then click book. So again, if I were to choose the 18th, kind of like the next day that's in that grouping, it would have worked properly. So otherwise, that's the three methods that allow you to book across multiple days in Dynamics 365 field service. Thank you.